Hello, and welcome to Keith R. Reese, my books. This is episode 5, and today we will be talking about my third novel that I wrote back in 2008, and it was released in 2009, just before the birth of my daughter, Isabella. So today we'll be talking about this book. This is it right here. Shaking the Tree. And Shaking the Tree is set in rural 1960s Mississippi. And it talks about, the story is about a young boy whose name is Nicholas Havens. And it chronicles the lives of the Havens family during the 1960s, from when Nicholas, or Nick as I call him in the book, was 12 years old until he's about until he's grown up. But the majority of the story is based on his teen years and when he graduates from high school. And after high school, he is drafted during the Vietnam era to go in the Army. But as the story unfolds, things don't quite work out as he thought they would. But the majority of the story is based on Nick and his relationship with an African-American laborer who has worked on the Havens farm all of his life, and his name is Suitor. And Suitor is an old-timer and feisty and comical and straight-edged and no-nonsense type of person to deal with, but very down-to-earth and very wise as well. And Nicholas's grandfather knows this and sees that his relationship with his father is not what it should be, because his father is mainly, he's focused on running the farm and being a provider, and doesn't have the time to spend with his two kids as much as he should. And the grandfather, is noticing this, and so he asks Suitor if he could be a guardian or so, or like a father figure to Nicholas. And in this way, he asks him to show him how to take care of the orchard that the Havens family owns. And the orchard that they have is a bunch of pecan trees. The farm that they own grows mainly cotton, but in the fall years they also use the pecan orchard as a source of income. And Suitor's favorite thing to do is to take care of these trees. Those trees are his baby, and that's what he likes to do in the fall, and that's his I guess that's his main passion. And he passes along these skills to Nicholas over the years and shows him how to work the farm. And he also has, Nicholas has a younger sister named Phoebe, who's very smart and wise and witty. And it talks about the relationship between Nicholas and his sister and what happens to them as they're going through school, the daily rigors of school life, and also having to do their chores on the farm, along with their school chores. Sorry to cough on this video. But Shaking the Tree is a comical coming-of-age story. It deals with many themes, including segregation in the 1960s in the rural South, and racial tensions that are underlying, and that the kids, being the age that they are, aren't quite, should we say, they're not too privy to what's going on, and a little bit naive as the notion of having segregation back then. And then it also deals with the Vietnam era, which was very sad for many people that were involved, and the tensions involved. And then it also deals with loss. The family has to deal with going through a hurricane that destroys most of their property, and what they have to do to deal with that. So there's a lot of things going on in the story, but it's a very comical story. It's very down to earth. It was inspired by many things that I knew about as I grew up in Louisiana, but and people that my grandfather knew and worked with him, and also my dad as well. But it's only based on names that I knew. It's not based on any person that I knew. There was a man named Suter in Louisiana that worked with my grandfather, but I really didn't know him that well. My dad did. And I would say that it's based on maybe a framework of that person, but I didn't know the real Suter at all, and what type of personality he had and what kind of man he was. I just know that he was a hard worker and very dependent. My grandfather was very dependent on him and trusted him. So it's kind of based on what I think their relationship may have been like. And it kind of goes from there, but it covers many years as Nicholas grows up in Phoebe. And it's a good story for all. There's just mild profanity in this story. There's nothing real bad. There's not a whole lot of violence. It's everything's very mild. There's a little adult humor in there, but it's a story I've read to my own daughter while I read to her at night for bedtime stories, and she just loved the book. She really liked Phoebe, the character Phoebe, and Nicholas too. And it's kind of ironic. This was a story that I wrote while we were expecting the birth of our daughter Isabella, and I wrote this story over the course of maybe 6 to 8 months, I would say. And I had a schedule set up only to write on Sundays. It's the only book that I wrote the book just on one day a week. We were expecting, and time was pretty short. I was working a lot, and people were wanting to see the kept, to have parties and stuff, trying to get ready for the birth of your child and going here and there. And so the only time I had time to write was Sunday mornings. We'd go to Mass on Saturdays, and then I would get up and set aside 2 or 3 hours on Sunday morning and write this book. And I wanted to get it done before Isabella was born, and which I did. So I'm very proud of it. It's a great story, and it's a really good read. A short read, I'd say it's about 200, maybe not even 300 pages long. But it's a real interesting story to read. I think a lot of people enjoy it. It is available as an ebook online for 99 cents. But if you'd like to get the paperback, it's also available print on demand through Amazon, and you'll get it in just a few days. And what else can I say? It's a really good story. That's about all I can say. I can't think of anything else. This is getting pretty boring, but go out and check it out. The name of the book is Shaking the Tree from 2009. And hope you enjoy it. And that's all for today for episode 5. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. So long, and have a good night.